Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. We have a new info dump to run through, revealing some very exciting updates coming very soon. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you all so much for the support. I cannot do it without you guys. So firstly, apologies for the lack of content recently. May, or the month of May, is a very busy time for me in terms of family. There's a lot of birthdays happening this month, so we have people coming here, we are going to see people, which unfortunately just cannot always fall on a day that I'm not working or streaming, but hopefully that'll settle down after next week. But with that said, there was a recent Bar Citizen event called Con 42, in which Jared and Thorsten, one of the developers, answered questions from the community. Now, there is a lot of very exciting features making their way to us in the very near future, many of which will be coming in this next patch, which to me sounds like it is going to be the 4.2 patch coming at the end of June. Now, as Jared put this patch will be awesome. Also, their latest monthly report mentioned that the next major release will have new locations, new creatures, and weather. And I suspect that this next major release, as they mention in the monthly report, is going to be what they're referring to here, my guess being 4.2 end of June. Now, it sounds like this patch may also see the first iteration of engineering, which is not going to be the full system. For example, life support will come later on, but this will include the fire hazard system. So having fires starting realistically inside ships and spreading as you would imagine, having to put them out, even opening doors to vent the oxygen, that is going to be an option with this first iteration. Now, it also does mention that fires will only happen on the interior of vehicles, or exclusively on the inside, and not on the planets, but it is safe to assume that this is mostly referring to just the current implementation and not the end goal. It has been said that long-term fires starting planet-side are something they would like, but it would need a lot of consideration and a lot of work from the planet tech guys. This is most likely coming from people working on engineering and ships, so it's not really for them to say about whether or not we will see fires planet-side or not ever. Anyway, alongside this engineering update, as you can expect, there will be a full rebalance of all the components, their health, their stats, like what we saw with the quantum drives, but obviously on a bigger scale, as this involves pretty much every other component. It is also important to point out that they did say that engineering will arrive in the tech preview for the Persistent Universe, not just Arena Commander, and the team are very close to releasing it to the tech preview, as they are now just tweaking the data. So I suspect that we will see any day now, really, a tech preview channel open up with engineering in time to test it and get it ready for releasing at the end of June. It is a big system that has a lot of moving parts, so hopefully that will be enough time to dial it in as much as possible before it goes live, and then obviously gather more data once it's gone live and keep tweaking. It isn't going to be perfect once it goes to the live servers. It'll still need a lot of balancing and tweaking as time goes on, but that's what the alpha is for. Now, there is a lot more to come with engineering gameplay than just components, as this opens up opportunities to other things like ship armor and bullet penetration. Albeit for armor, this isn't the full Maelstrom version, Maelstrom being this physical damage system that they're working on. It'll be more the mitigation of damage that mimics what it will be like when Maelstrom is fully implemented, which is currently getting worked out in Squadron, as we saw during the sort of first hour of gameplay intro mission. It is implemented into Squadron quite heavily, and that stuff will come over to the PU when it's ready. Now, in regards to bullet penetration, this we heard about a little while ago, that for the first iteration of it, it will be faked as accurately as possible while they wait for Maelstrom, and it will involve basically ballistic rounds potentially punching through the armor or the hull of a ship and damaging components on the inside. Now, as I say, it'll be fake to start with, kind of what they would expect to happen if they manage to get through, and this is what will cause malfunctions and systems shutting down that will require players to fix up. Now, door hacking and breaching will also arrive with engineering gameplay, they say, with this mechanic coming along. However, they don't specify what this will entail exactly, but it will tie into the ship death and breaching, which again can evolve much more with the implementation of engineering. I feel like it might have been a bit of a prerequisite to getting hacking for doors and breaching doors. Having the full systemic engineering gameplay would have been needed. So ship death will evolve in many cases, requiring boarding and disabling. And for example, soft death, which will be systemic in itself with engineering due to the failure of components, will be more common, and players will need to then board and disable ships to stop them from getting repaired by other players on the inside. So for example, you may disable a ship through causing enough damage and that ship suffering, a soft death, at which point the players on board will then begin working hard to get that ship back up and running again, which is only a matter of time. And if you want to stop that from happening, continuously shooting at a ship won't blow it up like it does now. So you'll have to get on board, take out the occupants that are fixing the ship, and then critically damage the ship from the inside, which will then cause a catastrophic or permanent explosion or permanent damage. There is a very slim chance that one of your shots may penetrate through to, say, hitting the power plant or the quantum drive and potentially cause a catastrophic explosion, but this is going to be very rare, very unlikely, and that's provided that those on board don't fix it or deal with the issue. Now, this is actually going to be one of the biggest mitigators of this murder hobo behavior that we see. As a murder hobo will soft death the ship, and that's it. They can continue shooting at the ship like they do now to just blow it up completely, but it won't happen. And the chances of a murder hobo having the balls to actually board a ship, go into FPS, and taking out a ship that way is very slim. So what'll happen is a murder hobo might come along, soft death your ship, and then fly away and go and shoot someone else while you just go and fix your ship back up again and get it back up and running. So a big part of mitigating murder hobos, griefing, the nonsense behavior, but making it more engaging for players and pirates to actually board and take control of a ship and stop it from getting back into the fight. So it should create more of an interesting group of gameplay there for both sides, being pirates and non-criminals. And then the final thing mentioned regarding engineering and Maelstrom is in regards to torpedo gameplay. Now, the current implementation of it is not what the end goal is intended to be. It is pretty much just balanced for the alpha that we have today. And I suspect that once engineering is in, torpedoes can evolve to be much more involving in themselves. So rather than just firing a torpedo to pop a ship and blow it up, they will damage a ship's systems in a big way, impacting the components, so doing a lot of damage rather than just one-hit kills. Anyway, related to doors, alongside the hacking and breaching stuff, it says that a new kind of door scanner is on the way, which will deny entry to those who are not wearing the correct clothing. So this will require a player to then take out an NPC, put their outfit on, and gain entry. And there will be an Inside Star Citizen in 2 weeks covering this. But interestingly, this specific use case is more of an indicator to me that specific door behavior types are now possible. And for players, this will mean when the org stuff starts to expand, we will be able to properly allocate roles to players with a hierarchy in mind, which will either allow or deny entry to certain areas of a ship based on what rank that player has, or whatever the specific requirement is that we decide. Now, of course, the whole clothing choice is more of an NPC, AI, and mission-specific use case, but for orgs and player-owned ships, having other specific requirements that can really decide whether someone can gain entry or not is going to be very useful. And talking of scanners, they also say that an FPS scanner will be arriving in the tech preview first before making its way into the verse. Now, I have no idea when this is intended to come. Personally, I would assume that they will start with engineering, and then the whole scanning, radar, and signature system will hit the tech preview as more of a wholesome system once engineering moves out of it, as engineering will be a prerequisite for the signature system, as all the components will generate signatures, so they need that in first for this signature system to be properly rolled out. They are also working on refinery gameplay, it says, with updates to station refining coming soon. Now, there are no specifics mentioned here, so I do wonder what this will involve. Maybe it's more ways to refine separating the processes based on the type of material, so smelting metals, refining gems and ores, and other real-world processes. We are also in a perfect spot now to have the refinery ship come along with these latest 4.1.1 mining updates, so hopefully we can see something like the Expanse make its way into the build, but nothing has been said about that. They do also say that there will be future updates coming with crafting and base building. Now, I don't know if this means updates as in just presentations, for example, here's the latest developments, or if they mean implementation into the game in some fashion. I do fully expect to see a lot of updates on crafting gameplay make its way into the verse this year, especially as last we heard they had the full crafting game loop working internally. So essentially just requiring the player-facing side of things, along with polish and other downstream teamwork as well. But base building, I'm not personally expecting to see this come along at all this year, but if they are saying we could see some base building updates, then I will be very excited. Again, still not expecting it, outside of here is our latest progress, but hopefully we will get more light shed on this and what they mean. Now, another couple of smaller little tidbits of information for hangar elevators. They said that the next patch will be cool, but to manage expectations, they will not have everything solved, but it will prove that they are on the right track. Now, I am assuming this is referring to the ongoing issues with instance hangars, getting our ships called up using the ASOP terminal and requesting ships and how that's very broken at times. This is one of those ongoing things that require a lot of work. They're not something that can just be hot fixed. So it sounds like in the next patch we will see a lot of quality of life and bug fixes for hangar elevators, so getting them working more as intended, but it will not fix everything. And then finally, the Atlas combat mech that we saw teased at Wicullo's showroom. This is called the Atlas IKTI, and this is coming in the next patch, which I am very excited for, as it is going to be a lot of fun to use. Anyway, that is all the information that I have found on this panel at Con 42. Thank you so much for linking that information into my Discord. It is much appreciated. If anyone has the official video somewhere where I can sit and watch it myself, I would love that, as getting this info secondhand often misses out some vital stuff that could lead to other information tidbits. And I would love to watch it for myself and just see if anything's been missed. But there is plenty to go on there. And I assume that much of this will come with 4.2 in June. Engineering and fire, door scanners, FPS scanners perhaps. Of course, this huge balancing update to all vehicle components. We've got ship armor updates and everything revolving around ship death, like bullet penetration. That is going to evolve big time. Also, this Atlas combat mech is going to be a lot of fun. Maybe even updates to refinery gameplay. And maybe not for 4.2, but crafting and base building. Seeing any updates on that will be very exciting. Now, I cannot imagine that all of this is slated for the next big patch, but a lot of it will be. And that includes what we read in the monthly report, with new locations, new creatures, and the first proper rollout of weather. All coming in the next major update, which to me is 4.2 in June. Things are really moving along, and alongside quality of life, bug fixing, already going on, the PU is going to really expand greatly this year, and I'm very excited to see what it will feel like by the end of 2025. But with that said, if you would like to convert your phone or tablet into your ship's dashboard, GameGlass is offering 15% off any lifetime pass or 10% off a monthly or annual pass. Plus, you can use it for free with the option of up to 3 shards, like this Aegis one. Very immersive. I love using GameGlass. Highly recommend it. Plus, any purchase made using my link does directly support my videos, providing my channel with a direct kickback. So a big thank you to those who do so. And with that, if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. Also, we will be live today over at twitch.tv/SuperMacBrother or here on YouTube. And today, a friend of mine has picked up an Idris, and we will be doing a trade post on board the Idris in the hangar, where players can come and sell their wares or browse the wares of traders. If that is of interest to you, do check out my live stream. It is going to be a lot of fun while we also tour the Idris and see what it has to offer. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members for all of your continued support. It is much appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.